Hello. We have got four speakers here, including yours truly, Rana Vitei. I am looking after the global JD practice from L&T Infotech, and around with 31 years of industry and JD Edwards experience, I'm operating from Mumbai, India, but I travel across the globe. So, Anne, you'd like to talk something about yourself?
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Ann-Kristin Valle and I work for Nynas and as an application manager for the corporate and sales applications. And in Nynas, that is our ERP system, JD Edwards. It's also our CRM system, Salesforce. I manage the customer portal and also the integration platform, which are both built on Oracle Cloud. So I worked for Nynas for 30 years and I worked 20 years within IT. So now I'll hand over to Mark.
Thank you, Ann-Kristin. Mark Herwege, solution engineer, JD Edwards solution engineer working for Oracle. I'm really pleased to be with you today and talking about JD Edwards on Oracle Cloud and with Oracle Cloud. So complementing the customer testimonial that we will hear from Ann-Kristin. I've been in the JD Edwards world for my whole career. I once started working for a company that got acquired by JD Edwards, so it's that long ago, but I still love JD Edwards and I love all of the evolutions that we see with the product nowadays. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Wasim Raza. I head the JD Edwards Cloud Solutions at LTI. I have around 20 years of experience in JD Edwards field, and I'm also responsible for the Center of Excellence of JD Edwards practice at LTI. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Anne, Mark, and Wasim for the brief introduction. I will just take all of you through the agenda today. First, we are going to talk about tomorrow's enterprises and some of the nuances of JD Edwards for tomorrow. We will also then introduce Nynas, one of the most prestigious specialty oil manufacturers from Europe. So Anne will handle that. Then we will see the three major solutions which have been created by Nynas and how JD Edwards and Oracle Cloud is working together to deliver value. We will also see how and why Nynas is using JD Edwards with OCI. We will have a detailed analysis of the JD Edwards OCI from Mark from Oracle, and then we will see how we take our next steps. Okay, to start with, now enterprises of tomorrow. We did a brief analysis of around more than 300 enterprises that are working with JD Edwards and other Oracle ERPs. And what we see is that most of these enterprises are concentrating their efforts in three areas. That is, looking at unlocking their system value, what we call the unlimited enterprise, then adapting the external changes which are happening, that is, they're reimagining their enterprise, and looking inside, that is, introspecting and harnessing their data and monetizing that data, the cognitive enterprise. Just to give you a few examples of this, about the reimagined enterprise, we know that 20 years back, how our procurement processes used to operate, how there used to be voluminous documents sold as tender papers. People used to buy the tenders, fill the tenders, submit the tenders, and so on. Now, today, there are off-the-rack SaaS products which are doing this. And most of the large organizations are using these SaaS products, integrating them with backend ERPs to handle them. So in fact, what has happened, the organizations have seen the emergence of internet technology, the emergence of different document capabilities on internet, and they're adapting that to ease their procurement process. It's an example of how technology has been absorbed and the internal process have been redesigned to absorb that process, to absorb that technology. Similarly, you can talk of the payment process also. Earlier we used to have checks. They used to be in safe cupboards, and they were check signatories. They used to go around the department signing checks. So all this has been done away with. In fact, finance department activities are easy to automate, but that doesn't restrict the current trend of automation or the way enterprises are reimagining their processes. Of late, we see large automobile companies like Mercedes, BMW, they have virtually eliminated their dealership network. They are doing direct to customer sales. Some of the large engineering companies, engineering construction companies, of course, the largest in India is definitely doing it. They are using drones for their inspection. So cross-country pipeline or cross-country inspections are being handled by drones, which again is absorbing the technology to ease your business process. So when we talk about a reimagined enterprise, it is not that the entire enterprise processes will be reimagined at once. It's by componenting the different processes, finding the right technology, absorbing the technology, and reimagining the processes, and then a consolidation of these processes are resulting into an reimagined enterprise. Of course, it depends on the appetite of the enterprise to absorb change, the budgets, etc. But that is how enterprises are moving forward. The cognitive enterprise, of course, looking back, we have the age-old example of cross-sells within cognitive enterprises. So an enterprise looks within itself, finds its customer database, launches a product, and uses the same database as a lever to improve sales. This is an example of cognitive enterprise. Of late, I can give you a fantastic example. One of the global oil companies, upstream oil companies, they were not very fluent with their budget, and they wanted to see how they can enhance their production. So across 80 plus countries, they had oil fields. They took all these records of the existing oil fields. They did analysis and found that a lot of capacity is present from where they can pick up oil. And so without going into a capital investment project of new drillings, they use their existing oil fields and could improve their production by more than 7%. So that is looking inside, harnessing your data, and monetizing your data. So these are some of the examples. Now, in this situation, when we are talking about unlocking the system and adapting emerging technologies and harnessing our internal capabilities, where does JD figure? Now, we all know that JD Edwards as a system has been existing for quite some time, but with the modern technology, we are also scaling up JD Edwards. Oracle is, I mean, doing fantastic there. And here are some of the things that we identified which will be helping enterprises of tomorrow. And that is why we are calling these steps as JD Edwards for tomorrow. Of course, enhancing the system, enhancing the functionalities through SaaS, enhancing the system, of course, through cloud and servers as code, that is containerization. Agile fallback, we will see an example of that in our use case, which Anne will be talking about. Functionality enhancement to SaaS interfaces, I spoke about. B2B exchanges on cloud platform. Like I know in some countries, there are major oil organizations who are subscribing to the same cloud so that the oil exchanges, oil price exchanges and settlements are happening much faster on the same cloud, same technology, etc. So those kinds of things are happening. Then there are integrations which are built on cloud and they're curated specifically for the purpose of a particular enterprise. Here also we will see an example in Nynas. Information harnessing, that of course we have our age-old BI, Oracle BI extensions which work on JD Edwards. We have OneView reporting, which is again working on JD Edwards. Modern technology uses spiraling information systems which are hosted on cloud. So some of these examples we will also see in Nynas. So having said this about the future looking prospects of JD Edwards, we will look into how Nynas as an organization has really capitalized and really used a lot of these features and taken JD Edwards to the next level. So with this, I will hand over to Anne and invite her to talk about Nynas.
So yes, so I'll do a brief introduction to Nynas. So Nynas is a niche oil company that has been around for 93 years. It was founded in 1928. We have 4 refineries in Europe and sales offices in 32 countries worldwide. And we specialize then in sustainable products that we're not into burning our products, burning the oil, but to use it. So we use it in naphthenic specialty oil, which is, among other things, insulating oil for transformers and electricity, lubricating oil, and plasticizing applications. And we also use it for bitumen, which is the binding material in all asphalt products. And like I said, we are focused on sustainability. So we have also introduced some biogrades now. And in short, we take oil forward to bring value to our customers and the world we live in. So I also want to remind you that you are very welcome to post your questions on the chat throughout this session. And now I will hand over to Wasim, who will tell us how LTI has helped Nynas with Oracle Cloud to achieve these solutions.
Thank you, Anne. Hello, everyone, again. I will take you through the key solutions built and deployed in Nynas by LTI on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Before I get started, I would like to remind, feel free to ask your questions or post your thought in the chat. So let's start with the first solution, digital integrations on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Multiple point-to-point traditional integrations across internal and external applications. This was the legacy of integrations at Nynas. Now, how was this impacting the business operations of Nynas? I would like to call out a few. The lead time of 6 to 8 weeks to onboard a new depot. This was impacting their time to market. Master data was not in sync between JDE and the depot systems. Thereby, it was limiting their ability to execute transactions. Lack of visibility of stocks in depots. This was impacting the planning for replenishments. Tracking and reconciling orders was a tedious task, sometimes impossible. Nynas was unable to participate in digital transactions with customers, partners, banks, where these entities expected the new age methodologies. From this state, let's see how Nynas embarked the digital transformation journey with LTI on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The idea was to build a future-ready framework and standards that will be a single point for integrations for internal as well as the external applications. LTI's answer was APIfication, to build and deploy a robust framework with an API gateway with pre-built APIs that can be consumed easily. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure was chosen to build this framework. Oracle SOA Cloud Service coupled with Oracle Database and Infrastructure Services were the key components of this solution. A central integration platform built with an API gateway to transact with internal on-premise applications like JD Edwards, the refinery applications, the depot applications. In addition to this, the internal SaaS applications like Salesforce were also a part in this. The API gateway catered to the integration needs of users, banks, third-party logistics, suppliers, customers, and distributors. Well, what was the outcome of the solution? the integration platform for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure with APIification. This enabled the idea to launch framework for business. It accelerated the onboarding of depots. The 6 to 8 weeks duration was reduced to 3 weeks. Mobility enabled for applications. Data was now more reliable for management information systems. In the end, what Nynas has is a unified platform for information exchange. I will go to the next solution, enhancing customer experience using Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Well, you heard it right. Now, before I jump to the solution, let me take you through some of the challenges that Nynas had with customer interactions and transactions. Now, customers used to send their demand forecasts via emails, calls, sometimes messages. Once these demands were received, the Nynas sales team entered the orders in JDE, and subsequently they had to send this back to the depots. Well, the recurring impact, delays, duplications, errors, impacting the order to cash cycle time and also the supply chain. In addition, frequent customer grievance for lack of visibility on products, prices, availability. So how did Nina solve this situation? Let's take a look at the solution developed and deployed by LTI on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Ninas decided to build a portal for customers with specific needs to address the key pain areas. LTI built the customer portal with a simple, efficient interface using Angular and Node.js. Oracle Kubernetes cluster on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure was used to deploy this as a containerized solution. The existing integrations platform on Oracle SOA Cloud Service was used for integrations with JDE and other applications. On the JDA side, yes, the big buzz today, the JD Edwards Orchestrator was used for most of the integrations for this portal. Now, what did the customer get with all of this? What was the outcome? Customers were now able to place orders online using the portal on their own. The demands were now through the portal, and now being a single point of entry were more consolidated. Self-service features enabled on this portal enable the customers to add their own delivery sites or specific delivery instructions for their orders, reducing their dependency on Ninas for such activities. Other features like real-time prices, a live product catalog, and instant reporting were built into the portal. All of this not just elevated the customer experience, but also empowered the customer. With this, I will go to the last solution that we will see today. Business continuity on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Ninas was required to enable the business continuity and build a disaster recovery setup for JD Edwards. Now, what was Ninas looking for? A scalable and a flexible solution, a solution with minimum maintenance, a solution that can be adopted as a global standard, and of course, a cost-effective and a future-ready landscape. LTI built the disaster recovery setup for JD Edwards for Ninas on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. How did Oracle Cloud Infrastructure meet these asks? A DR solution was built in the Frankfurt region, enabling the geo-redundancy. OCI, a highly scalable cloud platform for compute, storage, network, and all other resources. A wide range of PaaS and SaaS offerings to adopt and augment for future requirements. A cost saving of 24% plus as compared to the on-premise for the same. A quick touch on the technical side. For this solution, the on-premise and cloud connectivity was established with the help of IPsec VPN. Storage was replicated using the robocopy. Database synchronization was achieved with always on. This is how Nynas is achieving business continuity for JD Edwards and also meeting the compliance requirements. Well, this was it from the solutions point from me. I now request Anne-Christine to share with us her views on why Nynas chose this approach and how this has benefited them. Thank you.
So, hi again. Yes, if I take it in the same order then as you described our installations here. The integration platform, to start with, we used the built-in integration or the platform from JD Edwards. But of course, since most of the integrations go via the ERP system or to and through an ERP system, but that is not a specialized tool and it's not meeting the modern requirements. So we wanted a scalable solution, a modern, which could speak different languages, so to speak, so that we could meet all the different requirements from our business partners and customers. And one of the things that was difficult with the former integrations that we built was to follow up and see, to monitor. So we weren't really sure if messages had reached the correct recipient and where it had stopped. And this we have solved by having a good monitoring tool in the integration platform. We also get a good support structure for this that we have within LTI. We have, as Wasim mentioned, been able to shorten the lead time, and that's mainly because we work with frameworks where we try to make solutions ready for a number of integrations in the same area. So we have created a depot framework and a finance framework to send similar messages to the many different depots we have in the system, but also the different banks and the bank contacts. So if we move on to the customer portal, we had an old application that was outdated, and it was only working for one business area in the Nordic region. So they wanted to replace this, and we took the opportunity to build a customer portal that would be suitable for the entire Nynas, and using a new technical platform, new technology, and also creating an interesting and satisfying user interface for the customers and other partners. Possibility to use your mobile or other devices was also a part of the requirement. And we want to empower the customer experience so that they can place their forecast, which has been the first feature that we entered. They will also get on the screen or in the customer portal, they can also see what the actual outcome was, which is not always easy to know for a central purchasing department. So we can follow up the forecast and the actuals, and that could help both us and the customers to get more accurate. And this is, of course, also a big help for our operations and supply planning. So if I move to the disaster recovery on Oracle Cloud, we have had IT audits in connection to our financial audits for quite some years. I think I've been doing that for over 15 years now. And of course, they always ask you about your backup and your if you have done any tries of recovering that data. And we have never been able to give them a satisfactory answer to that. But now, this IT audit coming season, we will be able to do that, because now we have this tool. We have a scalable platform where we can meet the compliance demands. And of course, it will also enable customer or business continuity. I think the problem has been for us that it's been so reliable that that has not been a real issue. But now we have that possibility, and I think that's becoming more important with the coming threats that we have from cyber threats. And it's also, I think, the first step to move on. It's the first step on the Nynas journey to move to cloud for ERP. So we are excited to be starting this journey for the ERP system for JD Edwards. So with that, now we can hear from Mark on Oracle, JD Edwards, and the cloud.
Thank you, Kristin. So let's step back a little bit, and thank you for this great story on what Nynas is doing with Oracle software and with JD Edwards in general. I want to focus a little bit on JD Edwards and the Oracle Cloud. So Oracle continues investing for JD Edwards customers, and investing for, well, I put this slide in because I'll be talking about a few things that are not available just yet. So slight disclaimer. But apart from that, what I say is true, and the predictions that I make are also meant to come true. But sometimes plans change. Now we keep on investing in solutions for JD Edwards customers, and that of course means investing in JD Edwards itself. And that investment is in multiple areas. So it's in the core of the software. So call it here ERP optimization. We deliver extra functionality, we refine, we improve functionality that's there. But beyond that, investment in JD Edwards, we invest in making JD Edwards a much more open platform. A platform for digital business. And it has already been mentioned, the JD Edwards Orchestrator is a key piece in this. It opens up JD Edwards in a massive way, beyond anything imaginable. And the third area of investment from an Oracle perspective in the JD Edwards solution itself, and then I'm not talking about cloud yet, is to simplify and automate running and maintaining the solution. And we deliver all kinds of improvements in that area, and it's an ongoing thing. So we invest in the software itself, but beyond that, there's a lot of investments Oracle is making that are and can be of a benefit to JD Edwards customers. And if I start on the top, we of course have other applications, and we have cloud applications. And these cloud applications can naturally complement JD Edwards. Very often, there are cloud applications, best-of-breed cloud applications that may be well suited if your requirements are there, if that is a thing that is key for you. There's plenty of examples like that. It could be performance management, consolidations, business planning. It could be more advanced transportation management and optimization than what you have available in JD Edwards. If your account is in need for that, if you are a customer that needs to go beyond what is in JD Edwards, chances are there are complementary solutions. So that's on the top. And then I go down to the bottom. Oracle has a whole suite of technology solutions in the Oracle Cloud. And that's both infrastructure, virtual machines on which you can run applications, compute, networking, storage, and so on, but it's also on the platform side. And one example that has been given is integration cloud. Another example here, infrastructure platform, is database services, and especially the autonomous database service. And guess what? JD Edwards runs extremely well on that Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Actually, it's a platform we today develop on. Our development environments are all on Oracle Cloud. It's the first platform we test on, and it's a platform we deliver specific tooling and functionality for to make it easier for our customers to adopt it. Now, our value proposition of JD Edwards. So JD Edwards with Oracle Cloud, complemented with extra solutions, run it on top of Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And I have been giving you a few examples of that. Now, it does not change your JD Edwards. It's still the JD Edwards that you know, that you own, that you've customized, that you've integrated, and nothing of that changes. So unlike a real SaaS application where you're restricted in modifications you can do to the software, you could still modify JD Edwards. I'm not saying that's always a good idea, but it's possible if you have these kinds of requirements. Now, what do we deliver to run JD Edwards on Oracle Cloud infrastructure? And the first thing is reference architectures. And reference architectures are really templated solutions. So templated solutions with all of the services and the servers that you need defined for various level of customer size, user count, for various levels of requirements as far as high availability, disaster recovery is concerned. And all of that is certified by Oracle, certified by JD Edwards, is kept up to date. So we keep on updating it, validating it with each release cycle, and it's reliable. It's a reliable platform for future enhancements. Now, it helps being consistent in implementation. And of course, there's a big benefit for you in that. Consistency helps you, but it also helps you towards Oracle, and it helps Oracle because consistency in implementations means that it's easier to streamline the support for it. So helps us, helps you come to solutions much quicker. And this is a picture of what a reference architecture can look like. So in this example, a picture of a reference architecture, it's a high availability, optimized for a disaster recovery scenario where we have disaster recovery over multiple regions, load balancing between availability domains, automatic load balancing between availability domains with all of the servers that you nowadays need to operate to run JD Edwards available in that template. So that's there. Now, how do you get there? How do you start? And there's various things there, and they build on top of each other. First of all, I would say try it out. So go to Oracle Cloud, download the JD, install in the Oracle Cloud, get an account, and install the trial edition. It's a JD Edwards sandbox, latest version with everything in it, operational, so includes all of the functionality, includes orchestrator working, so it's all there. It doesn't have a deployment server, so it is not meant for live use, but it is meant for training, testing, validating new functionality, checking the latest version, and it's there for you. It's very quick to set up, so you have it up and running in a few hours, and you will be up and running in the Oracle Cloud with everything going there. Now, going from there, getting to a real implementation in the Oracle Cloud, and what we have is, first of all, one-click provisioning. And what is one-click provisioning? Well, all these reference architectures I talked about, we have coded them into infrastructure automation. So Terraform infrastructure automation. And essentially what that does for you is it goes through a script, it asks you a number of questions, and it will automatically create for you all of the subnets, all of the security lists, provision the storage, the compute, the database, and install the software. So you go through a questionnaire, and it comes up with a full installation of J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. And you have that running in a matter of hours and not weeks, like it used to be when we did a classical install of J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. So J.D. Edwards one-click provisioning for the cloud using the Terraform infrastructure automation, delivering all of the instances that you need to run and operate J.D. Edwards. This one-click provisioning is also on the latest status of J.D. Edwards Enterprise One. Now, guess what? We can easily do this in the Oracle Cloud. We prepare all of this for the Oracle Cloud. You can't do this in the same way, or we don't deliver this in the same way for competitor clouds, obviously. Second thing, lift and shift. You are running J.D. Edwards Enterprise One on-premise, and you want to get it into the cloud. Good news, we have tooling to help you with that. So we have tools that will extract all of the settings, all of the configuration, all of the data from your on-premise system. So tools that you run on-premise, to then transport it into the Oracle Cloud and to load it into Oracle Cloud instances provisioned through one-click provisioning. So that's what we call lift and shift. And we have that available today for like migrations. Linux to Linux, Windows to Windows in the Oracle Cloud, Oracle DB to Oracle DB, SQL Server, Microsoft to SQL Server, J.D. Edwards 9.2 to J.D. Edwards 9.2. Now, of course, there's more combinations possible. So you may want to go from an IBM into an Oracle database on Linux in the Oracle Cloud. It's a little bit more elaborate, but also that is possible. So there's a few manual steps to take in these cases. And then, last but not least, move and improve your J.D. Edwards infrastructure with OCI. So you have your on-premise infrastructure, and it may be on an older release. It may be on an early update from J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1.9.2. You go for one-click provisioning in the cloud, and you run through the simplified upgrade process. And that simplified upgrade process will move you to the cloud, and at the same time upgrade to the latest and greatest Enterprise 1.9.2 in one go. And that simplified upgrade now also supports moving to 64-bit code current targets. So what you end up with is full J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1.9.2 latest update in the cloud, starting from an earlier version on-premise for J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1. Now, that's where we are. And here is, I'm not going to read through all of this, but here is a set of things that we have done and improved over the last few years to bring value to J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1 in the cloud. And we're not done yet. So it's a continuous stream of extra functionality, of extra tooling that becomes available. So our next big thing, I would say, is elasticity. And the cloud is the perfect target for an elastic deployment. Essentially, why would you size your infrastructure for your peak load when you can dynamically and automatically upscale and downscale with the cloud? And the cloud has that ability. Now, there's a few components that need to fall into place for that. The first one is, on the database level, we can already do a lot. We can do that with Autonomous Database, and Autonomous Database dedicated is supported for J.D. Edwards on Oracle Cloud. And then Load balancing, elasticity on the presentation tier is not a problem. Enterprise servers were until recently a slight issue because we have had constraints in there. We have resolved them since. And there is already a white paper available from our site how to set up elastic environments in the Oracle Cloud. So make JD Edwards elastic in the Oracle Cloud. But we're not done yet. So you've heard me talking about Terraform's provisioning, automation of all of that. So our next step is automate this, set up a system which is elastic by definition in an automated way without you having to do manual things as are described in our white papers right now. That is upcoming, and that's something we again think that will only be possible to do in the Oracle Cloud. If you need anything further, I always, at the end of my pitch, refer back to the one source of the truth and the one source of information for JD Edwards Enterprise One, learnjd.com. So of everything that I've said, you can forget everything. If you remember one thing, I'm happy. learnjd.com. Check it out. There's much more information available there that can be of benefit to you. And with that, I close my part of the session, and I think we now open it up.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It was really a very interesting session, and it is very exciting for us, all of us in this, call, who actually love JD Edwards, to see that Oracle is doing such great stuff, and the road ahead is going to be really bright. Now, we will definitely open up the session for questions and answers. We have got a lot of questions lined up. But before I go into that, as Mark said, you can, those of you who are in this call, you can take a screenshot with your phone of the slide. These are the people whom you can contact. Bala is in Europe. I am in India, but I am looking after the global practice. Santosh is in United States. I know a lot of our friends from East Coast are there in this call, so you can contact Santosh. And of course, our Oracle experts, Andrea and Mark, both of them are in Europe, so you can contact any of these people. Their email addresses are here for any further inputs or any further queries. Now, having said that, I will go to the question answer session. But just one small thing, we will try to take as many questions as possible within the time. We have some time left, but if we are unable to answer a few questions, we will send you the responses by mail. So rest assured about that. All your questions will be answered either here in the live session or after the session through mails. Okay, so now going back to the questions, I can see an interesting question here. What is the Infinity platform for migration to cloud from Divya? Well, Infinity platform, we had it in the slide, but it was totally a session for capability and not for any kind of promotion. So I didn't touch upon this question, but since you have raised it, you see, Infinity is a totally dedicated cloud platform of L&T Infotech. And within that platform, we have got an offering which is called Journey to Cloud, Infinity Journey to Cloud. And in that, we are moving Oracle, JD Edwards, and EBS, these two things largely to cloud platform, namely the Oracle Cloud Platform. We have got more than 25 curated specialized tools to do this, some of which are, of course, Oracle tools, where we have seen that a migration to cloud platform is possible in around 20 days. We have done one case in less than 20 days also. So from 20 days to 90 days, if that is the schedule you are looking for, Infinity Cloud Platform can take you to cloud within that kind of a time frame with accelerated tools. Plus, we are giving a benefit of absolutely zero risk, because post migration the entire stabilization and support phase is being taken care of. And in case you meet some conditions, then you can have the entire migration service charges brought to zero. I mean, you heard it right, the entire migration service charges brought to zero. So that is the Infinity Cloud Platform at the service of JD Edwards customers. Okay, so thank you. The next question, I think I'll just go down and take the next question. Okay, so here is the next question. So Wasim, you would like to take it? If we plan upgrade and move to cloud, what is the recommendation? Do we do it separately or do we do it together? What is the typical duration of moving to cloud? Multiple questions, but yes, Wasim.
Take that, Rana. Thank you. So from our side, the recommendation is that you upgrade while moving to cloud. We don't usually recommend to do this as two separate projects. Two reasons: one, directly impacting the cost for the organizations, because moving to cloud as well as the upgrade will require you to do a significant amount of testing and availability from your business representations. With that in mind, our recommendation will be to do this as one go upgrade while moving to cloud. And for the second part, for what is a typical duration, again, let's say depending on the complexity, size, volume, and what additional projects that you would want to embark on while moving to cloud, simple from 1 month to close to 5 months plus around, that would be a typical duration from here.
Thanks, Wasim. So the next question is, it is on Nynas. Did Nynas evaluate any cloud option other than OCI, and what was the main reason for going with OCI? So, Anne, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, the first application that we used the Oracle Cloud for was the integration platform. And since we had chosen that, and then it made sense to continue on the Oracle platform. So the reason is that we were very satisfied with how our integration platform was running, and we continued using Oracle.
Okay, thanks, Anne, for the answer. We will go down. Okay, so Ashish is there. Okay, Ashish, let me introduce Ashish. He is our cloud and JD migration expert. So thankfully he has joined the call. And here is a question which perhaps he's the best person to answer. The question is, how will JD on OCI interact with other applications on non-Oracle cloud? So what I understand the question means is that if I take JD to OCI and I have other applications on some other cloud, how, and they are perhaps non-Oracle cloud, then how JD on OCI will interact with other non-Oracle cloud? Yeah, Ashish, over to you. So Ashish, are you there? I think we cannot hear you. So Wasim, would you like to take this question?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now
Okay,
we can hear.
okay.
Thank
And the video
thank
is on. Okay. Sorry about that. So multi-cloud is the way to go. I think that was the right question. It comes with its own complexity. So as Gartner had rightly predicted, that by 2021, 75% of the large and mid-sized companies would already have adopted multi-cloud, and that's what we are seeing when we are talking to our customers. One out of two customers are already having multi-cloud, and we are talking about probably the third cloud in most of the cases. So while we understand JD Edwards runs best on OCI, obviously, however, in your landscape, you might have multiple peripheral technologies and applications and different cloud deployment models like IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, a mix of all these trying to interact with each other to solve the business problem. We are not talking technology, but we're talking the business problems, and it's inevitable to discuss or miss an interactive integration between these applications. That's a must. So the good point is on OCI, basically it comes with an IPsec VPN connectivity, which can connect your on-premises applications or your cloud-to-cloud connectivity applications, which support VPN connectivity and data centers, as well as it also supports dedicated connectivity, fast connect for uh, uh, more direct connections. However, one thing is also important to notice: if you're lucky, you might also have an Azure and OCI data centers connectivity directly. So in that case, these are all directly connected, and there's hardly any latency. So in terms of interaction of applications on non-Oracle, there are a host of different architectural options available, connectivity options available, and it's as seamless as you can think of, and latencies can be managed with different options, connectivity and deployment options. I hope it answers.
Yeah, thanks Ashish for answering this. We have another question. I think this Mark can take this, but let me read out this question. I'm having some problem. Yeah. So if we move Oracle JD Edwards to Oracle Cloud, that means Oracle to Oracle. So whether we move JD Edwards to Oracle Cloud, what can be the license benefits and implications? Interesting question. Mark, so would you like to answer this?
Thank you for the question. I'd like to answer that in two parts. First of all, when it comes to JD Edwards itself, and all of the JD Edwards software, all of the JD Edwards components, the licenses for these are exactly the same whether you run on premise or in the cloud. So you take your on-premise licenses into the cloud. There are a number of technology prerequisites for JD Edwards, and the licenses for these technology prerequisites can be met in various ways. Many customers have something called an Oracle Technology Foundation for JD Edwards Enterprise One. Well, you can, if you want, take that into the cloud, and you will then be running on an Oracle database in the cloud, standard edition database. But you could also benefit from PaaS services that are available in the Oracle Cloud, like the database, like a marketplace image of WebLogic server to fulfill your middleware requirements. And especially on the database side, there are clear advantages in doing that. So you could, in a more cost-effective and economical way, for instance, upgrade your database to an enterprise edition database as a subscription, as a platform. So Oracle takes over more of the management in that case, and some of the options for things like in memory, high availability that can come with the enterprise edition database become available to you in a much more cost-effective way than when you would go to an enterprise license, database license on premise. So overall, the baseline is there's no change in licensing. Now, if you look at the underlying technology, there might be some advantages to do things differently.
Okay, thanks, Mark, for the question. I think we have another question for you. So I'm just putting that. It's about the sandbox environment that you mentioned that Oracle is providing. This sandbox does have perhaps typing error, all the tools to develop a custom app like the fat client environment that we have today?
Well, it definitely is. It's not a development environment. So we don't have a deployment server. We don't have development clients with that sandbox. So apart from that, it's a full J.D. Edwards Enterprise One system. All of the functionality, pristine data, an AIS server. There is a BI publisher server. So all of the key components are there. Now, when it comes to customizing, modifying the software, the first question you have to ask yourself is, do I need to do that? Did you check out the personalization capabilities that you have in JD Edwards Enterprise One right now? User interface personalization, the orchestrator, everything we do on there. And I can tell you, we are not done. We are going to come with more things that turn things that used to be modifications, customizations of the software into personalizations, user-defined objects. And all of that is possible in the sandbox. So you could test out these ideas in the sandbox. You don't have a full development client available.
Okay, thanks. So the sandbox environment is not for doing developments. It's for doing your installation, checking whether it's running properly or not, but not to, do customizations or test customizations per se. Okay.
Try new ideas.
Yeah.
Look at new functionality. If you've never created an orchestration, try it there. If you've never done user interface personalization, try it there. All of that is possible.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Your session has brought a lot of questions. A very interesting session, so that's why it's very responsive. One more question for you. We heard that JD lift and shift tools for migrating from on-premise to OCI, which are there. So if you can provide a few more details. I know it's not possible to go into the details of each and every tool or what they do, but if you can just talk about a few lines about these tools.
Well, it's difficult to get much deeper in detail, but I already said that if there's one thing you should remember right now from my pitch, it is learnjd.com. And on learnjd.com, for lift and shift, for one-click provisioning, you find learning paths available that take you through all of the steps that you go through step by step. So there's more documentation, there's more information available about exactly what is being done there. And there are learning paths that in a limited amount of time show you how it works, what you do, what steps to go through. So I think that is the best advice I can give to get more details.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Then perhaps the last question. We don't have much time, so the question I would pass on to Wasim and request him to answer, but very fast. We don't have much time. Moving to cloud, should it be big bang stage approach by modules or by business unit? What is the duration?
Will suggest, depending on the volume and complexity, you could go for a big bang. But if you're trying to do new implementations, new modules out there, then you could go that post a steady state in cloud.
Okay, thanks Wasim for the answer. That's all the questions we could have taken. And now let's wrap up the session. A fantastic session from Anne, Wasim, and Mark. A very, very interesting approach, road ahead for JD Edwards on OCI Cloud, and very responsive audience. Thanks a lot for your participation and raising so many questions. We answered as many as possible, and we will send you the answers of those questions which we could not take due to the paucity of time. We would like to thank all of you. And before closing, one last thing, look forward to our next webinar on how you can automate your entire CNC and system architecture monitoring, and how by that way how you can reduce your system monitoring and administration cost by more than 50%. So that will be the topic of our next webinar. Thanks everybody for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.